Okay, I got a couple people that asked me about a reverse jack plate. Well, let me start off. The reason for a jack plate is to, if you have a 20-inch transom, which means it's 20 inches from there to say here, then you generally have a 20-inch motor, which is the shaft. The length of this shaft is 20 inches. Well, if you take a jack plate, see, this is on reverse. See how this is? If you was to turn this around, put that on the other side, put that one over here, then you would have this part would be sticking up here in the back instead of going down here. The reason I reversed it is because it's a 15-inch shaft motor. And is it a workaround? Yes, it is. It is a bit of a workaround. Will it work? Yeah, it'll work fine. Can you trim it all the way up? No, not usually. But as a rule, these smaller motors don't have power trim and tilt. They have what they, a lot of them, I don't say all of them, but a lot of them have a low water thing that's just kind of a thing that drops down. You tilt, if you tilt it up. Well, in this case, this one here has an aftermarket trim and tilt on it. So I don't worry about that. Even though you can't trim it all the way up, you can trim it way higher than you need, to hit anything. Let me back up just a little bit. The reason you put a jack plate on to start with is if this was a 20-inch transom and a 20-inch motor, what you would do was, this is a rule of thumb now, for about every inch you come back off the transom, say if you come back here 4 or 5 inches, you can raise that motor up 4 or 5 inches. Well, I tried it, first I tried it all the way down here, but then I started raising it up. I think I'm if you can see in here, I'm on the 3rd hole here. So I raised it back up because I was getting enough bite with the propeller, meaning it wouldn't blow out and cavitate. With it being on a aftermarket trim and tilt here, this is actually back, that's probably 4 and this is probably 5, so it's probably back there, 9 inches. So it's well in the water. There's no problem with any cavitation or anything like that. The only other thing is like I say, that's a rule of thumb, how far you can raise or lower your motor by using it in reverse for a short shaft, or in, using it as it was intended for a long shaft. It's generally a little less than that. It's not a full, and it depends too on, in this case, this has got a pretty flat bottom here on the boat, so if you had a V there, of course, your motor's going to have to sit down deeper to get in there, in the water. What was I at? Well, here's the other thing too. When you set these things back, if you use this as it is to put a short shaft motor on a long shaft transom, you can take and cut this out 5 inches, but I don't want to, butcher the boat, so I didn't. But if you put this on there, even without this, a regular motor just clamps on. So if you take and bolt on this side 2 3/4 inch take 2 3/4 inch pieces of plywood across here, marine plywood preferably, and seal it good, or if you can find 3/4 inch polymer, you know, the sheets 3/4 inch thick, that works great. And you just put it all the way across, and then that actually sets your motor back, you know, back here. Instead of being right here, it'll be here. So that's another 1.5 inches. So that'll help you with any problems you have of depth, and, you know, making sure your motor's staying in your foot's staying in the water and not blowing out. Okay, here's the next thing that happened. This right here is a 4-stroke Yamaha, and when you set all this thing back, you see where you're sitting up there. Well, this is an extended tiller handle, and it's adjustable here. But when you're sitting there, you know, I actually cut it and made it shorter. I think it extended, I don't remember, but I'm going to put the description in the, I'm going to put the link in the description for this tiller extension. And this is a tiller extension for a trolling motor. If you notice, it's got a U-joint in here. So what happens is, even if you've got this tiller extension and you're steering it, well, that puts you way away from this shift. So in order to shift from forward to reverse, you got to lean way back here or dive back here and pop it in reverse, and it's kind of inconvenient at the dock. Well, having this, you know, I actually fabricated this. This is a universal mount on a trolling, for a trolling motor extension. This is just, I think these are 3/4 inch square aluminum tubing, and of course everything's stainless, lock washers or lock nuts and washers. And it just so happens on a Yamaha that this is flat and square at the bottom. So I cut these, smooth them out so you don't, you know, cut yourself, you know, with sharp edges, and then I put that across there. This is just a little stainless U-bolt. I left the plate down here, and what'll happen, this will follow this. So if you're up here steering, or you're going back or forth, or whatever's happening, that's going to follow it. And this it seems sloppy, but I don't want it to bind anywhere. And, you know, there you go. You can shift it, and it shifts easy, stays in gear. So if you're looking for a workaround, like I didn't have, I would have loved to have had a power trim and tilt manual, or a tiller 50, I guess is what you'd call it, and just bolt it right there to the back of it, or use the jack plate like it's supposed to be used, you know, in the other way, where you're actually lifting the motor up, you know, a 20 inch foot motor. But I didn't have the $7,000 for it, so this is what I'm using, and it works really well. I mean, the boat, actually, this is a pretty good sized boat. It's an all-weld 17, I think it's a 17 foot. But one other thing I did add to it, being it's a 25 horse and it's a pretty good bit of boat, I added these Bennett spring-loaded trim tabs. And I didn't think, you know, they would work very well, or, you know, I was kind of hesitant, I guess I should say. But I'm amazed. It comes right up, and I guess as you go, see, these are spring-loaded, so it's almost self-leveling, and it just comes right out of the hole. It doesn't run nose down. It runs, you know, like it should. And that's it. It runs out good. I mean, for a 25, it's amazing. I can get in it with my wife, my 2 dogs, and it planes out and runs good. It's yeah, it's come out to be a heck of a machine. And also, this is made by 3M. This is a textured decking, which is nice and cool. Anybody that's ever had one of these dark green John boats knows that it'll take the hide right off of you. These you know, this paint right here when it gets hot. Anyway, that was it. Yeah, the only other thing I do is I put one of these called Transom Savers, just to support the foot, and trim it down just a little bit to put a little bit of pressure on it. My trim switch is actually right here on the side, up and down, and that allows me, if I'm sitting steering, to reach it. And also if I have the handle extended, to say I'm standing up so I can see what I need to be, and I've got the handle extended, then I can still just bend down on that side and reach it. If you want to know about the grab bar and any of the stuff there, shoot me an email, let me know, and I'll pull the cover off. Finding a console cover was almost impossible, so I found that these motor cowling covers work good. It covers up the little, it's not a Yeti, but it's a Yeti style cooler, and the top of the grab bar and everything, and it doesn't come all the way down where it holds moisture or water, lets it air. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope I answered your questions. If not, leave it in the comments and I'll see what I can. I will put the links to those two items in the description there. The trolling motor tiller extension. And what I started to see, you really couldn't see it over here. On these Yamahas, these are just flat. So I just took the tiller extension apart, or the universal joint. I took this side of it off where it would clamp to the trolling motor handle, and took the Allen wrenches out. I don't know if you can see that, but I've got a screw, stainless steel screw, and I kind of drilled this to bevel it, and this is a stainless lock nut and stainless washer. So I just drilled a hole right through the paddle shift right here, and works good. It's sturdy, follows everything. This isn't going anywhere. I mean, and this, you know, it's not going to bind and kick it out of gear or anything like that. Okay, thank you a lot. Bye.